حي على الفلاح.
Hanaf, not being this way or that way. Janaf to have bias, Hanaf to not have any bias, not have any other inclination. He's solely focused towards Allah Azza wa Jal. وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. The iltifat in this ayah is really remarkable, just from a spiritual point of view too. On the one hand, you have someone trying to reach the state of ihsan in which they're trying to get close to Allah. So the slave is trying to get close to Allah. By the time the ayah ends, Allah says that Allah came close to the slave. وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah took Ibrahim alayhi salam as a near and dear friend, a close friend. Khalil. By the way, khulla in Arabic, khulla is close, intimate friendship. Friends between whom there are no formalities is khulla. This is khulla. So Allah took Ibrahim alayhi salam as a very close friend. Walillahi, by the way, what other word for friend came today? Rafiq. Rafiq we also saw before. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. And to Allah alone, whatever's in the skies and whatever's in the earth, it exclusively belongs to Him. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطًا. And Allah is in complete encompassing of all things. He's encircled everything. In other words, Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us, what is the conclusion of the state of ihsan? What is the one thing that, if you really reach the state of ihsan, what is that one idea that dominates all of your thought? Is that Allah owns everything. I own nothing. I'm entitled to nothing. I can accomplish nothing. It is entirely in Allah Azza wa Jal's hands. All difficulties are nothing because they're in Allah's hands. I don't have to vie for what anybody else has. I don't have to be jealous of what anybody else has because Allah has given me. I can't possibly take pride in anything I do because it's given by Allah Azza wa Jal. This statement seems very generic. Everything in the skies and the earth exclusively belongs to Allah. But really it is this one statement that you've given ownership, credit entirely all the time to Allah Azza wa Jal. If you can live a life and I can live a life thinking about that and being aware of that in everything we say and do, that is ihsan. That is what ihsan amounts to. So, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطًا. And Allah has completely encircled and has remained in complete encircling of all things. I tend to think of the case of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Very interesting, we don't bring these things up in common discourse. Ali radiallahu anhu, of course, married to Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha, is considering marrying another woman. Thinking about it. Fatima finds out. She gets really upset. She goes to the Prophet ﷺ. He's thinking about marrying another one. Rasul ﷺ calls Ali. So you're thinking about marrying another wife? Now it's the father of the daughter asking the husband, you're thinking about another wife? And he says, yeah, I was thinking about it. And he says, whoever hurts Fatima hurts me. That's all he said to him. Right? What did this story, this narration, what does it teach? And Ali obviously did not marry somebody else after that. That the wife being hurt by the marriage of another, by husband marrying, he can't just slap Sharia in her face and quote it, مَثْنَا وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ هَلْ تَكْفُرِينَ بِالْآيَةِ. You do kufr of the ayah. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا آمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. That's, you could do that. But what did the hadith teach us? That part of injustice is hurting the feelings. In some cultures there's a norm. There's some cultures are weird. They're like, for us, at least for me it's weird. Their second wife, the first wife goes looks for the second wife. They do that, it's weird. But they do it. It's fine, good for you. Then there are cultures, if you're thinking about a second wife, the first wife will become suicidal. Then remind yourself of Fatima's situation. Because what the messenger speaks, he doesn't just speak on his own behalf. He speaks on behalf of all fathers of all daughters. He's not just the father of Fatima radiallahu anha. He's the father of all daughters. He represents all of them when he makes these kinds of statements. We can't just reduce that to his personal, preference. So, everything he does is guidance. Alayhi salatu wasalam. So we overlook these things, Sharia says it's halal, have fun. And among guys, I tell you, the guys that are having the most marital difficulties are the ones that joke about polygamy the most. That's just a fact. I'm looking for a second one right now. Because you can't handle one, right? Because you're going to be really, really handle two. Your track record clearly indicates you've just hit it out of the park with the first one. So you're more than ready to handle a second and make another woman's life amazing. You know? That's what you're saying, you know? So, you know, these things have become trivial for us, or people use or misrepresent the religious teachings because they take what they think whatever conclusion they'd like to take and cite that as the actual principle, which they're not. وَإِنْ يَتَفَرَّقَا. And if they do in fact depart, if they do get divorced, if they part their ways, life moves on. يُغْنِ اللَّهُ. Allah will make them free of need. You know, after divorce is a very serious, depressing time. People get extremely, extremely depressed after a divorce. Right? And nowadays we made it like, you know, even engagements are such a big deal. After engagements people get seriously depressed. So imagine after like an actual marriage and a divorce. Right? My life is over, I'm blacklisted, I'm stamped, you know, nobody's going to look towards me again, my life is over, I'm in humiliation to my family, I have no future ahead of me, etc., etc. Guys and girls, and even girls more so. Allah gives hope in this ayah to divorce people. There's an ayah for divorce people. يُغْنِ اللَّهُ كُلًّا مِنْ سَعَتِهِ. Allah will make free of need. Allah will take care of you. Everyone. And He will give you from His vast treasures, مِنْ سَعَتِهِ, from His vastness Himself. Okay? From His vastness, Allah will take care of you and He will provide. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ وَاسِعًا حَكِيمًا. And Allah had always been vast, encompassing, and full of wisdom. So there's wisdom in what you're going through. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Once again, Allah alone owns whatever's in the skies, whatever's in the earth. The husband says, why did she leave me? Why did I get divorced? She was mine. Allah says, no, actually, everything's mine. Why did I lose my family? You didn't lose your family, everything's Allah's. Lillahi ma fi samawati ma fil ard. These aren't just ayat that you just say, let's bunch all of these together, they belong in one place. No. Every one of them has their place. Allah is reminding this person who's gone through a difficulty, look, he wasn't yours and she wasn't yours, they both belong to Allah. You know? وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ أَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. And we had given a strong, stern advice. وَصَّى. يُوَصِّي. He sought to give strong, like almost like a will, to those who are given the book much before you, and also to you, that you should maintain the caution of Allah. Be cautious of Allah, be aware of Allah, be in recognition of Allah. Look at all the ayat of divorce, what keeps coming up in Surah Al-Baqarah, you remember? Taqwa. Once again, وَأَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِن تَكْفُرُوا. And if you are ungrateful after that, and you deny after that, فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. He repeats it again. And if you deny and you go, and you don't appreciate what's being said to you, then it doesn't change the fact that Allah still owns everything. Whether you recognize it or not, reality is still reality. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَنِيًّا حَمِيدًا. And Allah Himself is free of need. Allah would have made you free of need, but if you don't come towards Allah again and become grateful to Allah, He doesn't need your gratitude. Allah Himself is free of need, and He is self-praised, Hamid. The quality of deserving hamd is constantly His. So the second time around when Allah says, لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, it's like wa'id, it's like a warning. Allah doesn't need you, He already owns everything. Now the third time it's positive reinforcement. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. Allah alone owns everything in the skies and the earth. Allah is enough to take care of you. The third time, it comes back to positive reinforcement. The same principle again. So Allah is instilling the lesson of ihsan that came before. He's instilling it now in actual life situations. When you're going through a divorce, remember لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. When you're going through difficulty, remember لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. When your problems aren't being solved, وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا, after لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. إِنْ يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. Allah turns to all people. And this is ayat madaniyah. فَنَتَوَقَّعَ أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. But He says to all people, if He wanted, He would have wiped out all of you, people. Had He wanted, He would have removed all of you. وَيَأْتِ بِآخَرِينَ. And He would have brought another people. He doesn't need you. Remember the previous ayah He said, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَنِيًّا. Now He's showing you how ghani He is. It's an expression of how ghani He is. He doesn't need you. He doesn't need you to do hamd. He doesn't need you for anything. He could remove you all entirely. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ قَدِيرًا. And Allah has always been completely capable of doing such things. You are not in a position to say, Allah would never do that. Allah wouldn't do that. He can do anything He wants. And He's always had that ability.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If you enjoyed this video, please do share it with friends and family. If you want to see more videos from this series, click on the box at the top. If you want to see other videos, click on the box at the bottom. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks.